Yeah, honestly, it's right in line with what I expected. It is. So, um, what do you need to get moving?
Here, but once we get off the phone call, we'll let everybody go. But if you just want to email me or give me a call or text while I'm on the road, I'll be ready to move forward with you right after this phone call.
I think you guys are a good choice, best choice I've talked to, so I'd be willing to do that.
What you just saw were snippets from sales calls I had over the past couple of weeks for a new AI agency offer that I've been rolling out to show you that this does actually work and there is real interest from businesses. In this video, I'll give you the exact 3-step playbook you need to pick a service that sells, build an offer around it, and run outreach so you can get people interested in your service on the call and sign them. If you follow the playbook that I'm about to give you to the T, you can realistically go from nothing to your first client in 30 days without any prior experience, a tech background, or online presence needed. First, I want you to listen very closely to what I'm going to say. You don't need to have a novel idea to start a business. I know. People tell you to be creative and come up with the next Apple when you're planning on starting a business. But what do you think the chances are that you think of a revolutionary idea and then actually make the business work? I don't know the exact number, but I'd say it's pretty close to zero. There is a much simpler way to start a business and a much safer one because you at least have to prove that it's working for others. If they can do it, I promise you, you can do it too. The type of business that I'm talking about is a boring old model called the online service business. These have been around for years, close to decades at this point. Think of cold email, think of content creation, copywriting, and the list goes on. Now, I already hear you thinking, but how can I compete in a saturated market with established players and bigger teams? Well, the answer is one word: AI. I'm serious. I don't think AI is going to take over your jobs in the next 5 to 10 years, but AI is a crazy amplifier, which means you alone in your bedroom can quite literally do the work of 10 people by leveraging AI. And better yet, because the other players in this market are established and have big teams, they are slow to transition, they are slow to adopt and change their ways. So this is the golden era for any new player to enter the market and take share. So here's the play. You come into a market like cold email lead generation, you look for the established players, find their clients and offer those clients the same quantity and quality of service for less money. Now, how can you afford to undercut them? Because you don't have the overhead, you have no office, no bloated payroll, your margins are insane. So you have all the room in the world to undercut and still walk away with more profit per client than they do. Now, obviously, client loyalty is a thing, but everyone takes the call when you can deliver the same result for less. That is the opportunity sitting in front of you right now, and it doesn't stay open forever. The longer agencies wait to adopt AI, the wider the gap. The earlier you move, the more market share is yours to take. So now let's get into how you actually find the right service to sell. Before you pick a random online service business and run wild, let me point you in the right direction, because otherwise you could still very easily fail. Not all online services are created equal. There are plenty of bad ones being pushed online right now. Virtual assistant placement, AI receptionists, AI voice agents, selling those $500 websites to local businesses, $50 prompt packs, and the list goes on. None of these are going to take you anywhere. Now, for those of you who are unaware, I run a community where I guide people to start and scale their business. So I've quite literally seen everything under the sun being tested. The services that actually work fall into 8 categories. There's lead generation and outbound, things like cold email lead gen systems or LinkedIn outreach systems. Paid advertising, like running Meta ads or Google ads for businesses. Email and SMS marketing, things like e-com, email flows, or B2B email nurture systems. Content and social media, like LinkedIn ghostwriting or short form video content engines. Copywriting and creative, sales pages, VSLs, ad creative, web and funnel building, sales funnels, webinar funnels, conversion-focused websites, SEO and organic traffic like SEO content engines and local SEO, and automation and AI systems, things like AI-powered sales automation or custom AI agents. Now, even within these 8 categories, there is still a hierarchy. Some are way easier to sell than others as a beginner, and some just make way more money. And it all comes down to one thing, which is ROI for the customer. ROI simply means return on investment. How much money goes in and how much money comes out. And more importantly, can that money be directly attributed to your service? Now, the way your service generates that ROI is what determines how easy it is to sell. And every service falls into one of three buckets. The first is new value. This means your service brings them direct extra revenue. Think cold email or paid ads. You send cold emails for them. They sign more clients. That's directly more revenue in their pocket because of your service. The second is recovered value. This sounds more dramatic than it is. Recovered value means you either prevent them from losing revenue they're already generating, or you help them squeeze more out of their existing customer base. Think of a SaaS with a lot of members where you'd be reducing churn with activation campaigns, or an e-com store where you run email campaigns during the holidays to squeeze more out of existing customers. Now, the latter can look a bit like new value, but the distinction matters. You can't send retention emails if they don't already have a list. You can't reduce churn if they don't already have members. Recovered value is lower on the hierarchy because there are just fewer eligible businesses for your offer. They have to be already running well enough to have something worth recovering. The third is indirect value. This is most of the AI automations and apps you've been seeing pushed on YouTube and Instagram. Saving time by automating a business process is great, but it doesn't directly turn into more revenue. So it's hard for a business to put a monetary figure on your service. These are also often one-time projects or projects with a high upfront fee and a low maintenance fee after, which makes them harder to build a real business on. So the top of the hierarchy is new value. That's where you want to start as a beginner. The business doesn't need to already have anything working. You're just putting money in their pocket they weren't making before. Easy math for them, easy sell for you. Slight caveat is that even within new value, you have to narrow further if you're a completely inexperienced beginner. Take paid ads as an example. Even though it's a clean new value service, businesses are never going to let you run their ads if you can't show them proof you've done it for others before, or at the very least for yourself. Now, why? Because on top of paying you, they also have to spend money on ad creative and ad budget, which depending on the business can easily be thousands of dollars. That is too big of a risk for them to take with a complete beginner, understandably, which then lands me on my recommendation, which is cold email lead generation. It is new value. You're booking calls with clients on their calendar that weren't there before. Their only risk is paying you. This is by far the easiest service to get clients for when you have zero experience with anything. Now, if you want access to see the full list of 50 proven services that pass everything I just walked through with pricing models, what's included, who buys them, link is in the description below. All right, now that you have a list of services you could be selling, it is time to do two things. Validate that there's actual demand for the service and build the offer around it that you'll present to the prospect. Let me show you how to validate demand. We're simply going to be looking for our competition. Every service that you can think of has someone else selling it already, I can assure you. So all you have to do is do a bit of a deep dive into Google, Instagram, whatever, to find businesses selling the same thing and check if they are actively making some good money, which you can do in a plethora of ways. Once you have verified that they are making money, it is an idea for you to also enter the same market. I'll take cold email lead gen as the running example, as it is what I think is the single best option for most of you watching this video. Since I operate in this market myself, I'm very well aware of the competition, so I can just pull up some of my closest competitors. We have C17, which is this one. We have Cold IQ, and we have Leadbird. What I'm interested in for validation is the case studies. So let me find the case studies for each one. These are the case studies for Leadbird. Then move over down here, I believe. Here we go. These are all interviews, which is also great. And here we can also scroll all the way to the bottom. Now for you, once you have found your competitors of the service that you think about selling, all you have to do at this point is copy and paste the names of the companies these case studies or testimonials are from. Once you then have a list of all of them, you just search them up and identify what type of businesses they are, what niche they belong to. The goal here is to find patterns. Where do you find multiple businesses in the same niche, preferably across multiple competitors selling your service? Because when you do find a pattern, you now have a service to sell and you know who's buying that service. So you know who you should be selling it to as well. Now, this is the foundation. This is as close as you'll ever get to knowing the business you're about to start has a real chance of becoming a success. Having this locked in, things get a lot easier from here on out because we know what we sell and we know who we sell it to. Everything from the website to the outreach we'll discuss in a bit is based on this knowledge. Okay, so we validated cold email as a service that's being sold and we have a good idea of what type of business to sell it to. Now it's time to create the offer around our service. The structure I use has 4 parts: result, mechanism, time frame, without. You promise a specific result using a specific mechanism in a specific time frame without a specific pain or objection. Let's fill it in for cold email lead gen. So the first thing is result. This is what they get. Again, it is strongly advised to look at your competitors to see what kind of result is achievable. The ones I have pulled up are all larger players. So if you go through these case studies, you'll see some pretty incredible results they're getting for them. Not very realistic for you to be achieving or aiming to get your clients the same results as these people, as they are doing massive volume. So if you're actually doing this for yourself as a complete beginner, it's better to look for some smaller agencies. But I can spoil it for you. If you are starting out and wanting to sell cold email lead gen, promising 20 qualified leads per month is very much achievable. Then we have mechanism. This is how you deliver. There are 3 delivery types. We have done for you, where you handle everything. It's done for you. Then done with you, where you build the system and coach them while they run it. And do it yourself, where you just hand them the knowledge and let them figure it out. Doesn't take a genius to understand that people would rather have it done for them. Minimum time and energy input from them. So DFY, which is short for done for you, wins. For cold email, that becomes by setting up cold email infrastructure for you and running and managing campaigns at scale. Then the time frame, same as before. People would rather have results now instead of tomorrow. So you give them a realistic timeline, something like I'll deliver the first leads within 14 days. And then lastly is without. This is the objection handler, always important. And even if you'd only had the result in your offer, would still work. This is just naming the thing or things they don't have to do. Thinking back to the 3 value types, what do people care about most? Well, money. So what do? We tell them they only have to pay when we deliver on our promise. Why would they ever say no? Now, this is also why it's important to offer something that produces value. Otherwise, you can't even offer this possibility. Now, I know everyone online talks about retainer this and retainer that, consistent income. First off, you're never going to get someone to sign a retainer when you have no track record of doing the thing you're offering successfully. Second, and this is most important to me, if you're good at what you're doing, you can earn way more money with a pay per performance deal than with a retainer deal. So picture this, and I put it on screen for you as well. I'm a beginner selling my cold email service, and imagine I would sign someone on a retainer. I'd be asking $2,500, maybe $3,500 if I was feeling ballsy. That's already a lot of money out of pocket, understandably. So it's hard for someone to just fork it over each month. But more importantly, if I was delivering my 20 leads each month, I'd still be selling myself short even at those numbers, because a cold email lead for a high ticket business is easily worth $300. You can calculate about 5 to 10% of what a client is worth to the client you're doing the outreach for. So 20 times 300 is $6,000 a month. So not only is pricing per performance way easier to convince someone to buy, it makes me more money. I wanted to give that some extra attention so you truly understand what I'm talking about. Then you put it all together and the offer becomes the following. I'll deliver 20 qualified leads per month with the first sales call booked within 14 days by setting up and managing your cold email end to end, and you only pay per booked sales call. That is the offer, which brings us to the make or break of your business, your outreach. Outreach is how you get in front of businesses. Now, there's so much to it when you go at scale, optimizing reply rates and booked call rates. But for the purpose of this video, which is getting your first high-ticket client, I'm going to keep it as simple and straightforward as possible. Before you can do any outreach, there are 3 things you need. First, the infrastructure, a list of email addresses to send to, and the message you'll be sending. For the infrastructure, all you need to get started is an Instantly account, 20 email inboxes, and a couple of weeks to warm them up. For the leads, the hard part is already done. We identified the market interested in our offer during the validation step. So now we just have to find email addresses of business owners in that market. You could do this in Instantly too, if you're on a budget crunch, but I recommend using Apollo.io. Let's say the market you've identified by looking at your competitors' case studies is recruitment agencies. You just filter for recruitment agencies in Apollo, then filter for employee count. I'd go for businesses with under 10 employees as they're most likely struggling to get clients and more open to exploring new avenues, which is perfect for your cold email offer. Which then leaves us with the message. There is a lot to account for to write a good cold email at scale, doing the research, coming up with personalized openers, using variables spring throughout the email to differentiate yourself from the mass blast slope people receive. All of this is something I've built complete done-for-you systems for using AI. The system researches every prospect, writes personalized openers, weaves in dynamic variables, and sends fully hands-off. Thousands of emails per hour, 4% reply rates against an industry average of around 1%. It is what I personally use to send tens of thousands of emails per day for myself and also for my clients. But since this video is about signing your first client and I understand you wanting to spend as little time and money as possible, let me give you a temporary shortcut. So here is the exact message to send. So it would be, hey, first name. First name would obviously be a variable. I have a performance-based cold email offer where you only pay for qualified meetings that I book on your calendar. Would you be interested? You can literally copy and paste this, send it to a few thousand business owners in your chosen market, and I guarantee at least a few will bite. Now, understand that mass blasting this message at this kind of volume will tank the deliverability of your email infrastructure pretty quickly. That is the price you pay for doing it as cheaply as possible. It is enough to land your first client. After that, you're going to need the actual system I just showed you. Once you have those interested leads, you schedule a call. I know for a lot of you with no sales experience, this is the most intimidating part, but it's a lot easier than you think. All a sales call is asking them about their situation. What does their current outreach setup look like? What are the biggest issues they're running into? Have they tried other solutions before? They will give you everything you need for your pitch by answering those questions. They're doing it manually. You're going to automate it. It's on and off, so their leads are inconsistent. You'll run it all day, every day. They've worked with agencies and didn't get results. With you, they only pay when they get results. It's basically just asking what's wrong and prescribing the solution. Do this a few times and I guarantee you'll sign someone because frankly, you have a no-brainer offer and that's all there is to it. Then once you've signed your first client, document the process, track the results, post them on your landing page, share them on social media, bring them up in your future sales calls. Every client you close and get results for makes the next one easier to sign. This is how you speedrun a successful online service business and scale it to 10, 15, 20K a month within a couple of months. So quick recap. You are starting an online service business because it's a proven model that's been around for decades, and AI is the amplifier that lets you compete with established agencies as a one-person operation. That is the golden opportunity sitting in front of you right now. You pick a service that actually sells cold by running it through the value type filter, new value at the top, recovered value in the middle, indirect value at the bottom. You want new value as a beginner. It's just the easiest. And because the business doesn't need anything already working for you to make them money, then you build the offer using result, plus mechanism, plus time frame, plus without, done for you delivery, and pay per performance so the prospect has zero risk saying yes to you. And then you run the outreach. Simple infrastructure, a list from Apollo, and a message that states the offer in the first line. All you have to do is get a few people interested, ask them what's broken, prescribe your service, and you'll sign someone guaranteed. That is the whole playbook. Now, if you want my help doing this, I run a community which is called Scaling Systems Society, where I walk you through every step of this in detail. The exact services that work, the offer structures that sign, my full automated outreach system that does the research, personalization, and sending for you, the landing page templates, the LinkedIn profile setup, the sales call frameworks, all of it, everything you could ever need to start and run and scale a successful business. In the past 12 months, over 850 people have been a part of it, with more than 150 members scaling past $10,000 a month, starting from nothing. I personally guarantee you'll sign your first B2B client within 60 days, or you get your money back. Link is in the description. I will see you guys inside.